Misti Mukh was not just a shop. It was a famous spot in the middle of old Dhaka. Its walls smelled sweetly of history. For over 70 years it stood there. It was a place where people shared stories over plates of sandesh. The shop was small and simple. Its green wooden shutters opened every morning. They welcomed the city with the smell of warm milk and cardamom. The air inside was thick with the promise of sweet things. It was a smell that had become a part of the neighborhood itself. This was the smell of parties, of comfort, of home. The shop was started by Rina's great-grandfather. He loved Bengali sweets very much. He believed that a perfect sweet could show the true spirit of Bengal. He passed his special recipes down through his family. Each recipe was a treasure kept safe. The shop saw Dhaka change. It watched history happen right outside its door. But inside Misti Mukh, time seemed to slow down. The ways of making sweets were the same. The ingredients were pure. The love put into each sweet was always there. This was its magic and its promise to the people of Dhaka. Many families had come to Misti Mukh over the years. They came for birthdays and weddings. They came for festivals and simple evening treats. Grandfathers brought their grandchildren. They pointed to the same glass jars they had looked at when they were kids. The shop was like a string connecting the past to the present. The marble counter was smooth from many hands touching it. The brass scales shined under the single light bulb. Everything told a story of things staying the same. It was a place of familiar comfort in a world that was always changing. But Misti Mukh was more than just its history. It was a living, breathing part of the community's spirit. The people who worked there were not just employees. They were like guardians of a special skill. Their hands moved with practiced grace. They shaped cheese into perfect balls. They stirred big pots of milk pudding with patience. The shop showed how special the art of making Bengali sweets was. It was a place where old ways were not just remembered, they were tasted and loved every single day. This was the special gift Rina received. It was a gift of taste, family, and belief. Rina grew up wrapped in the sweet hug of Misti Mukh. Her first memories were a song of smells and sounds. She remembered the gentle clinking of glass jars. She remembered the soft sizzle of butter in a hot pan. The shop was her playground. Its kitchen was her school. Her grandmother, her Aita, was her first and best teacher. Rina would stand on a small wooden stool. She would watch her Aita's hands dance with flour and sugar. Her grandmother's face would be calm. A small smile would be on her lips as she worked her magic. Her Aita taught her everything. She taught her how to feel the dough. She showed her how to listen for the right sound of bubbling syrup. "The sweets speak to you, Rina," her Aita would say softly. "You just have to learn their language." Rina learned to know spices just by their smell. She could tell when the milk had become perfectly thick just by its color. These were lessons you couldn't find in a book. They were passed down through touch, sight, and smell. They were secrets whispered from one heart to another. Rina's favorite job was decorating the sweets. Her grandmother would give her tiny silver leaves and chopped pistachios. Rina would carefully put them on the warm sandesh. She felt like an artist making a beautiful artwork. Each sweet was a small canvas. Her Aita would praise her gentle touch. She would tell Rina that she had misti haath, sweet hands. This was the best compliment a sweet maker could get. It meant she had a special talent. It filled Rina's small heart with great pride and a strong feeling of belonging. Those times with her grandmother shaped Rina's world. They were about more than just making sweets. They were about connecting with people. They were about keeping a family's history alive. Rina saw the joy on her Aita's face when a customer tasted a sweet and smiled. She understood that Misti Mukh was not just selling food. It was selling happiness. It was sharing a piece of their family's soul with the world. These sweet memories were carved into her being. They became the reason she loved the shop and its old ways. Rina came back to Dhaka after finishing her business degree. She came back with a heart full of hope. But she found Misti Mukh slowly fading away. The shop that was once the lively heart of the neighborhood now seemed tired. The green paint on the shutters was peeling. The usual crowd of customers had gotten smaller. A quietness had settled in the place that was once full of life. The sweet smell was still there, but it was mixed with a hint of sadness. It was the smell of a family's special history slowly disappearing. The world outside the shop's doors had changed. Dhaka was now a busy modern city. New, fancy cafes and bakeries had opened everywhere. They offered trendy desserts with foreign names. Young people were drawn to these new places. They posted pictures of colorful macarons and frosted cupcakes online. The slow, traditional charm of Misti Mukh seemed old-fashioned to them. People's lives were faster. They wanted things quickly. They wanted food they could order with a tap on their phone. The old ways of Misti Mukh were struggling to keep up. The shop's money situation was bad. Sales had been going down steadily for years. The cost of pure ingredients like milk, butter, and nuts had gone up. But raising the prices of their sweets was hard. Their loyal, older customers could not afford it. The shop was stuck in a tough spot. It was caught between rising costs and less money coming in. Rina looked at the old account books. The numbers told a story of a slow, painful struggle. She knew that something had to be done. Love and old ways alone could not pay the bills. The most painful part for Rina was seeing the worry on her father's face. He had given his whole life to the shop. He worked from early morning until late at night. He tried to keep the high standards his own father had set. But he was tired. He did not understand the new world of advertising and online trends. He believed only in the quality of his sweets. He thought that was enough. Rina saw his quiet sadness. She knew she could not just stand by and watch her family's dream fall apart. The sweet history of Misti Mukh had a bitter taste, and she was determined to change it. Rina knew she had to do something. She couldn't let her family's special history disappear, but she also knew that changing everything would ruin its spirit. Her plan was not to throw out the old for the new. Her idea was to mix them together. She wanted to build a bridge between the loved traditions of Misti Mukh and what the modern world needed. Her goal was to respect the past while welcoming the future. She believed that technology and tradition could work together, not against each other. She wanted to make the shop important again without losing its true heart. Her first step was to keep the main part of Misti Mukh, the recipes. These were more than just instructions. They were family treasures, written on old, yellowed paper. Her Aita's beautiful handwriting filled the pages. Rina spent weeks carefully putting every single recipe onto a computer. She scanned the old notebooks. She made a safe digital copy. This was not just for safety, it was about creating a system. She added notes on where to get ingredients and exact measurements. This would make sure that the taste of Misti Mukh would stay the same for many years to come. A perfect digital copy of a loved past. Next, Rina looked at the kitchen. The karigars, the sweet makers, were masters of their skill, but their tools were very old. The process was slow and hard work. Rina suggested bringing in new equipment. She suggested modern steel tables for better cleanliness. She wanted temperature-controlled cookers to make sure the syrups were always perfect. She also looked into new ways to package the sweets. She designed beautiful, earth-friendly boxes that would keep the sweets fresh. The new packaging would also look nice. It would make Misti Mukh's sweets a perfect gift for any occasion. Her plan was about doing things well and making them look good. She wanted to free the karigars from the most tiring jobs. This would let them focus on their artistic skill. Better cleanliness would meet modern rules. Faster production would help them handle bigger orders. Beautiful packaging would attract new, younger customers. Rina showed her detailed plan to her father. She explained how each change was meant to support the shop's traditions, not get rid of them. Her idea was clear. She wanted to give Misti Mukh the tools it needed to do well in the 21st century. Rina's plan started in the heart of the shop, the kitchen. This was where the real magic happened. But, it was also where she faced her first big problem. The kitchen was a very special place for the old sweet makers. They had worked there for decades, really. They trusted their hands and their feelings. Rina brought in new stainless steel tables and a modern deep cleaning system. At first, the workers were not sure. They were used to their old wooden boards and familiar setup. The new, clean environment felt cold and not personal to them. It just didn't have the warmth of the kitchen they knew. Rina did not force the changes. She worked alongside them. She explained how cleaner surfaces meant safer food. She showed them how much easier it was to keep things clean. Slowly, they began to see the good parts. Then came the new machines. Rina brought in a small, smart stove. It could keep sugar syrup at an exact temperature for hours, a job that used to need constant attention. The main sweet maker, Karim Chacha, watched the machine with doubt. He was proud of his ability to control the heat just by feeling it. He saw the machine as a threat to his skill. To win him over, Rina suggested a test. He would make a batch of Rosogollas syrup his way. She would make one using the new stove. They would then compare the results. Karim Chacha's syrup was excellent, as always. But Rina's was perfectly the same from the first Rosogolla to the last. The last batch was just as soft and juicy as the first. He saw that the machine was not taking away his skill. It was helping him make it even better. It was a tool that offered exactness he couldn't always promise. This small win was a turning point. With time, the kitchen changed. The sweet makers started to use the new tools. They found that the new kneading machine saved their arms from hours of hard work. This left them with more energy to focus on the delicate art of shaping the sweets. The improved packaging system Rina designed was another success. The new boxes were not just beautiful, they also kept air out. This meant the sweets stayed fresh for longer. Customers started saying good things about the new look. Misti Mukh was slowly starting to create a perfect mix of old ways and new ideas, right there in its warm, sweet-smelling kitchen. Section 6. Misti Mukh goes digital, sweetness on the screen. Once the kitchen was on its way to being modern, Rina looked outside. She knew that Misti Mukh needed to be more than just a physical shop. It needed to be online where many of her possible customers were. Her first step was to get on social media. She started an Instagram and Facebook page for Misti Mukh. But she didn't just post pictures of sweets. She decided to tell the story of the shop. She wanted to share the history and the passion that went into every single sweet. Her posts were a nice mix of old and new. She posted clear, bright photos of their colorful sweets, making them look as tasty on screen as they were in real life. But she also shared stories. She posted short videos of Karim Chacha shaping sandesh with his skilled hands. She wrote about her Aita's idea of using only the purest ingredients. She shared the history of the shop and its place in old Dhaka. She was not just selling sweets, she was selling an experience. She was inviting people into the world of Misti Mukh. The response was quick and huge. People were fascinated by the stories. Young people who had never been to old Dhaka were suddenly curious. They tagged their friends in the comments. They shared the posts. The beautiful pictures made the traditional sweets look appealing and modern. Rina ran small contests and giveaways. She asked followers to share their own Misti Mukh memories. The pages became a community spot, a place for people to connect over a shared love for Bengali culture and food. Building on this success, Rina launched the Misti Mukh phone app. It was simple and easy to use. Customers could now look at the whole menu from their homes. They could read about the history of each sweet. Most importantly, they could place orders for home delivery. This changed everything. It brought Misti Mukh to customers all over Dhaka. People who found it hard to travel to the old city could now enjoy their favorite sweets with a few taps. The app connected the 70-year-old shop directly to the modern, fast-paced lives of a new generation. The sweet code was working. Section 7. The challenge of change. Old hands, new ways. The path of new ideas was not always easy. Rina's biggest challenge was not technology or advertising. It was people. The older workers, especially the master sweet makers, were the heart of Misti Mukh. Their knowledge was very important, but they were very set in their ways. They had been making sweets the same way for 30 or 40 years. They saw Rina's new ideas as a disturbance. They worried that the machines and systems would take away the human touch. They feared that the real taste of Misti Mukh would be lost. Karim Chacha, the most respected sweet maker, was her toughest critic. He had learned the craft from Rina's own grandfather. He felt a strong duty to protect that history. When Rina showed him the digital recipes on a tablet, he refused to look at it. "My recipe is here," he said, tapping his heart, "not in a glass box." He believed that the feel, the smell, the instinct, these were the true ingredients. He was afraid that Rina's focus on exact measurements and temperatures would turn their art into a cold, lifeless science. Rina understood his fear. She knew that she needed him to trust and support her. She did not argue or order him around. Instead, she listened. She spent hours in the kitchen with him. She asked him to teach her the old ways again. She showed him respect for his great skill and experience. She explained that the digital recipes were not meant to replace his knowledge. They were a backup, a way to make sure that his special skills would never be lost. She showed him how the tablet could help them figure out ingredients for large orders instantly, saving him hours of difficult math. Slowly, she built a bridge of understanding. She had to prove that her goal was the same as his, to keep the real taste alive. She set up blind taste tests. She would make a batch of sweets using her new controlled methods. He would make a batch his traditional way. More often than not, the customers could not tell the difference. Sometimes they even liked the new batch better because it was always the same. Karim Chacha started to see that technology could help, not replace. It was a long and patient process. It needed respect, talking, and a shared love for the sweets they made. Section 8. The sweet taste of success. The changes at Misti Mukh started to show good results. The sweet taste of success was even more satisfying than the best chom chom. The mix of old ways and new technology created a strong new energy. The shop, once quiet and fading, was now full of life. The old loyal customers still came for their daily dose of good memories. But now, they were joined by a new generation. Young students, office workers, and families came to the shop. They were attracted by the stories they saw online and stayed for the amazing taste. The home delivery service launched through the phone app was a huge success. Orders came in from all parts of the big city of Dhaka. The kitchen, now more efficient, was able to handle the increased demand without making the quality worse. The sweet makers, once doubtful, now worked with a new sense of pride. They saw their creations being packed into beautiful boxes and sent to homes far away. They realized their art was reaching more people than ever before. Their skills were not just being kept safe, they were being celebrated on a much bigger scale. Rina's father watched the change with happy tears in his eyes. He saw the shop he loved not just surviving, but doing very well. He saw his daughter's idea come to life. She had managed to do what he thought was impossible. She had made old traditions cool again. She had connected the heart of old Dhaka to the modern pulse of the city. The sound of the cash register was now a happy sound. The online reviews were full of praise. Misti Mukh was once again a topic of conversation, a loved brand that showed the best of Bengali culture. The success was not just about money, it was about culture. Rina started holding small classes at the shop. She invited people to learn the basics of sweet making from Karim Chacha. These events were very popular. They helped to teach a new generation about the art and effort behind their favorite sweets. Misti Mukh had become more than a shop again. It was a cultural center, a place for connection, and a shining example of how respecting the past can build a brilliant future. The special history was safe, and its future looked brighter and sweeter than ever. Section 9. A Legacy Reborn. The Future of Misti Mukh. Today, on this warm July day in 2025, Misti Mukh stands as a bright example of hope and cleverness. It shows that old ways and new ideas can work together perfectly. The shop has been nicely fixed up. The green shutters are freshly painted. The brass scales still shine, but now they sit next to a sleek tablet for taking online orders. The sweet smell of cardamom and warm milk is stronger than ever. It flows out onto the street, a sweet invitation to a place where the past is loved and the future is bright. Rina's journey has changed more than just the shop. It has changed her and the community around her. She has shown that you don't have to choose between your family's history and moving forward. You can use today's tools to celebrate and make the gifts of yesterday even better. She has created a business that can keep going, one that respects the skilled workers and makes customers happy. Misti Mukh is no longer just a local sweet shop. It is a symbol of cultural rebirth. It is a story of a daughter's love for her family's history and her bravery to imagine it in a new way. The future of Misti Mukh is full of exciting possibilities. Rina is already planning to grow. She wants to open small, modern shops in other parts of Dhaka. These new shops will have the same real taste and the same powerful story. She is also looking into ways to send their sweets abroad, taking the taste of Bengal to the world. Her digital collection of recipes has become a very valuable tool, a guide for consistent quality and growth. The foundation she has built is strong, based on respect for the past and a clear plan for the future. In the end, the story of Misti Mukh is a simple one. It is about how food can connect us. It connects us to our families, to our history, and to each other. Rina understood this simple truth. She used every tool she had, from her Aita's whispered secrets to the internet's global reach, to share that connection. She saved more than a shop. She brought back a spark. She made sure that for many years to come, people will be able to taste the sweet, true spirit of Bengal in every bite of a Misti Mukh sweet.